Hi, everybody, Team Canada. This is so amazing. Oh my gosh. Just watching us grow from, well, couple people, me and Amy to start, and then it turned into Connie and then Jane and Emily, and here we all are. So I just can't thank you guys enough. I mean, we're certainly here on a mission to better people's lives and also just be part of this amazing community and make a little bit of money on the side, and that's okay too. That's something that I'm realizing that a lot of people are searching for as well. So we get to help people with their health and also their wealth journeys, which is really cool. So um, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. We've had a busy day and we're the last week, and I know a lot of people are going for some big goals this month, and we're going to drive them home tonight. We're here to support you, and Rachel's going to chat. And then, of course, at the end, if you have any questions that you've really been wanting to go through, this is a really good time because it's good to hear it all as well. So on that note, I'll pass it back to you, Miss Rachel, California amazing leader you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm really grateful to see all these new faces, and I'm impressed by all the numbers this team is generating. You all are doing, this is probably one of the fastest growing teams in the whole company. And, this is Jilly's 4th month. She's hitting Blue Diamond this month. So you hit executive your 1st month, Diamond your 2nd month, Green Diamond your 3rd month, and your 4th month hitting Blue Diamond. And let's congratulate, by the way, Emily for hitting Diamond early in the month. Great. Congratulations,
Yes,
Emily.
yes. I wanted to start off with that. Yay.
Yeah, way to go. And some of you have just started off just getting brand partners right off the bat. And so I just I'd love to actually, if everyone could just put in the chat anything that you feel like is an edge for you, or something that you feel like you want more training on. I want to feel the pulse of this team of what is it that you would feel like you want to know more of, or that you feel like is a challenge for you, or something you could use a little hand with, or that you want to get better at, or an edge that you feel like you want to push through. So just take a moment to think about that and just throw it in the chat there. All right, starting with product knowledge. Social media. Okay. Where to prospect after you feel like you've gone through all your peeps. Fantastic. Okay, more social media, not enough prospects. How to follow up with ones who said they wanted to join, but now not responding. Creating the marketing. I'm not sure what you mean by creating the marketing. All of this.
Just
okay.
like anything, like Canva and things like that.
Okay, so creating the flyers and things like that.
Flyers.
Okay.
Yeah, flyers. Okay.
So one thing I'm going to say about doing things in Canva is you can look online. You can do a YouTube University search, how to use Canva to create a flyer, and there's lots. But I also have, I'm also thinking about creating. I do this every once in a while. I do a big Instagram training. Mm-hmm. And people usually end up with a lot more followers when they take my Instagram training. And so we might do either, I'm considering doing a workshop or something weekly that's an hour each week, which takes a little bit more time, but then you commit to things each week. So I'm thinking about that. So I'd be open to any votes on that. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of go through these things, and we're gonna dive into some things here. But I just want to say, where do prospect when you feel like you've gone through all your peeps? So that's like when you've worn out your warm market. What is it? And so this is where adding 75. Okay, this is a big number, but I always like to give a big number so that you at least go for something bigger than what you might go for, even if your number is 5, right? But adding people every single day on social media, and starting conversations. There's a great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. We're in the business of networking. So learning how to network, learning how to start conversations, stay in contact with people, have an authentic way to get their number and connect with them on Facebook. I have never, ever, ever had a card or a business card in this business. I don't even use the gift cards at all. I literally, every person I talk to and I network with, I say, are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Let me follow you. And then I just get their handle and I follow them. And so I'm adding them. And then instantly now we're connected. It's a lot easier to then put them into groups, tag them in hashtag 44 launch on Instagram, add them to the group on Facebook. And it's a lot easier to start a conversation, right? Because then it's like you can interact with their pictures, you can like their things, you can suggest things for them, you can send them DMs. It's like, it's way more, social media gives us an opportunity to be way more colorful, just more dynamic in our interactions and have things to talk about, have things to do, have things to share. I'll share with you that right now my marketing is I'm doing a little, every once in a while I do a thing where I do animals. So right now I'm looking for major influencers who are into pets. And I did my dog post the other day and already I got some. So people are following me now because of my dog post. And now I'm talking to them and I'm prospecting them specifically around Epigenius dogs. Because you can literally, I want you guys to get this through your mind. You can literally do the whole business with one product. It could be Epigenius dogs, it could be Biomedic. I'm not suggesting you do that, but that's how powerful our products are, is that you could literally do a whole campaign around one product and literally just go for it. So this is just, once through their dogs, I can now have conversations with the owners that then leads to the health transformation, ultimate transformation for the parents, right? So this is kind of like a way to get in the door of a new prospect and start to have conversations that are bigger with that person, because now they're interested in the dog, right? They're interested in the dog product. And so I just send, it's a cheap thing to start with. I can send them a link. It's like, look at this, you can get two and just pay for one with a $50 off gift code. And it starts the conversation. And then now we're in a rapport. And then now I can start actually funneling them towards events. By the way, we're having a healthy happy hour today. And we actually have superfoods for people too. You know, you want to come check it out? So we can start, and just remember, every time you invite a person to an event, it doesn't mean they have to come. It's just planting a seed. When you invite a person to an event, that's another way to start a conversation. So literally just by inviting them to the healthy happy hour, inviting them to something, it just is a way to have contact and invite them to something sweet. You don't even need a flyer. You know what I mean? So that's it. Canva. I make all my flyers in Canva or in WordSwag, and you can just look up anything, almost anything you want to learn, you can look up technically on YouTube, whether it's Canva or whether it's you know, how to do stories on YouTube, on Instagram. Anything you want to learn, you can learn on YouTube. That's technical. So start there until we like have a class going. Let's see. Leveraging, oh, I wanted to answer Kevin's question. So product knowledge. So there's a way to get an instant amount of product knowledge. And this is if you go into iLearn. I don't know if you've seen that. Looking for you, Kevin. I'm like, where is your face? Talking to 4 at a time here. Gosh, there's so many people on this call. I'm like, can't even like find the person I'm trying to talk to. It's hilarious. I love it. Anyway, it's weird. Oh, there you are. Okay. So product knowledge. So does everybody know about in iLearn? If you go to module, it's called module products A through Z. There's 2 or 3 hours of videos by Dave Sandoval, and he goes through every single product from A to Z in alphabetical order. This is like going to college. If you get through those 2 to 3 hours, you will know everything about recommending anything to anyone on a Connect call. You'll always be able to help create add-ons for their order. So we always start with the ULT. Everything else is designed to be an add-on, right? And then either an add-on or something that they try later in their add-ons, their next pack, or to add on, try another time. Okay, and so you'll learn how to recommend things if you watch that. It'll become really fun. It's really fun. So another thing is we also have the DSAL, the David Sandoval's Academy of Learning, Academy of Learning. David Sandoval Academy of Learning, I did that. It's 4 modules. Let's see if I can remember them. Detox, weight loss, sports, and aging, anti-aging. Those are 4 modules. Those I think are $300 each module. And each module is about, like, I mean, when I took his class, I was with him live, and it was like 16 hours a day. I mean, it was just definitely like an all day long for 3 days or 4 days. So it's a lot of hours, but it's really great training. And once you've gone through the modules and you've taken the test, you're now a certified health professional with Purium. You're a PHP, Purium health professional. And that gives you, that's the certification. And for these products. And then you get the first, and then there's a lot of perks to that. At events, you get to sit in the front row. You also get you're like the first to try new products. They sent me Zinc Aid before anyone even heard about it. So stuff like that. And then we also have a private Facebook group, and there's a lot of health professionals in that Facebook group. And so any questions or weird or hard questions we don't have the answer to are in the DSAL group, our Facebook group. So if you guys have some weird hard questions and you can't find them in the product knowledge base, you can find them. You can either find them through me, and I can ask in the DSAL group if I don't know. But the knowledge base is another little place on Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. I mean, on your back office, right? So in your back office, there's a little thing called knowledge base, and there's like a little book in the upper right hand corner on your app. I think on your, if you're on a laptop, and if you're on your phone, I think it's scroll down and to the bottom it says knowledge base. On the left side, on the wing that flies out on the bottom, I think it says knowledge base. You can ask questions and find out a lot about details like spirulina, or like, you know, what's this thing mean, or what does that thing mean? You can ask questions in there, and there's a lot of details. You can find out policy, all the ins and outs of Purium are in there. Let's see. Leveraging the tools of the company. So you mean like business? So Amy, do you mean like business tools? Like when you say you want to know where out leveraging tools, can you be more specific? Like you mean like the business opportunity Zooms and stuff like that?
Yeah, just being on top of those things and inviting people, the ones that are, you know, that really highlight the community and of the company. I'm just not utilizing them. Like I know they're there, but sometimes there's so much information. It's hard to know. I don't know. It's great. It's presented so well. It's just, there's so much of it. Sometimes I don't think I access it.
Yeah. Well, if you want to invite people to things, I mean, I don't really leverage those Zooms, but anyone can, and a lot of people do. So the Zooms are, the business opportunity Zooms are 3 times a week. And they're always at the same time every week. And so if you go to isharepurium.com/events, you start to memorize these links. isharepurium.com/events. It lists all the events, I think, for the whole month, or at least for a week by week, at least a couple of weeks at a time. And so you can look through there to see like what's happening this week. And then you can actually use their little promo flyer. You can screenshot it, and then you can use that flyer, and you can copy those links, and you can send them to people. You can put them in your team thread. I hope that's helpful.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah. It's now that you say it that way, you can go ahead, and if you know somebody's got an issue or something, you can invite them specifically, or just, yeah, it's all so well done. It's just, there's lots of it at first. It's hard. It's so well done though.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How to follow up with the ones who said they wanted to join, but now not responding. So the video, Connie, were you able to see? I can't see right now, so I'm just going to ask you, and you have to speak, but have you seen Fraser's video that I put in the UBT group? Were you in that? Because he totally addressed this one.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen it. I just need to go back to it again.
Okay. Who remembers what he said? Who remembers his response to that? Who can give it a shot? Your best shot at like how he responded. Go ahead.
He, I think he followed up with one funny GIF or whatever it is, saying awkward, and then he sent a message saying, "I haven't heard back from you." Oh, sorry, what was it? But yeah, he took the funny route.
So made it humorous.
Yeah, humorous.
Yeah, like I haven't like oh my god, I haven't heard back from you. Do you hate me? And he's like, it's kind of some like silly gif, and then says, kind of like, just kidding. I'm just curious if you had a chance to watch if you had a chance to, check out the information I sent you. No worries either way. Just let me know.
That's it. Yeah.
Like no worries. Everything you ask, it's always like no worries, no pressure. Either way, just curious if you wouldn't mind letting me know. Right. And then another way is to actually take the attention off of it completely. First of all, you can see if their little head dropped down on Facebook Messenger. You can see if they've seen it on Facebook Messenger and on Instagram. You can tell if they've seen your thread. It'll either say seen or their little head drops down. So If you can tell they've seen it and they haven't responded, just remember, a lot of people look at their messages and then they say, I'll get back to that, and they forget. And then if you get back to them, they're like, oh, thank you, I totally forgot. Most of the time it's that, oh my God, thank you, I totally forgot. I just like haven't had a chance. Another thing is if you put yourself in front of them by liking their posts, you talk about something else, say, hey, how's your dog? You know, like what happened to your dog the other day? Start another conversation that's off topic. And then that brings you back into conversation again. And they see your message seen and they go, oh yeah. And by the way, I forgot to respond to that message, you know, and then, or they just see you and they're like, oh, like every time they see you, they're being reminded of you. They're remembering like there's this conversation that I'm in the middle of it with her that I got to remember to complete. So you're just putting them in their memory. Yeah, love that one. Let's see. Couple tips on Instagram in terms of like cultivating followers is, and all this stuff, like if you're in my UBT group, my Ultimate Business Transformation group, which is on Tuesdays at noon Pacific time, we give a lot of tips, and there's a lot of, that's like a really private group for people who are really serious about the business, who are really wanting to rank up. And so everyone who attends that Zoom really gets like the nitty-gritty information that's like for people who really want that information. And so I go a little bit deeper. We do some social media stuff and tips like this, but tip for today is follow hashtags. So I follow hashtag vegan, I follow hashtag superfoods, I follow hashtag you know, smoothies, right? I follow big hashtags. And so then if I find an influencer, like somebody posts for that day and it's like, I'm like, ooh, I like that post, and I go look at it and it's like that person has 1 million followers, and I look at all their comments, I'm gonna send 2 comments in that thing, and that's gonna actually attract their followers to me. If I make a couple comments, their followers are now gonna start following me. It happens every time. Because they're like, oh, I like what you had to say. Who is this person? They check you out. And then they're like, oh, follow, you know? So it's not about trying to get the person who's got 2 million people, because they may not see you, they may or may not see you, they may respond. I have influencers who do sometimes respond, but it's about engaging their followers. The other thing is, anyone who follows you on Instagram, you want to respond with a voice message. You want to acknowledge. Fraser Brooks is so great. I mean, he's like, we have all these followers and we're like going for the numbers, like, oh, I got 20, I got 40, I got 100, I got 500, I got 1,000, I got 2,000. Who cares? If you have 2,000 followers and you're not engaging any of them, it doesn't really matter, right? So get to know every person who follows you or adds you. Send them a voice memo. Hey, thanks for the follow. I see that you're all about, you know, you're about recipe pages. I'm going to start posting some of your recipes because I love them. You know, I'll tag you. And they're like, oh, thank you. Right? Starts a conversation. Now you're a real person. You're not just a number. And now that you've engaged in the text messages, now you're engaged in each other's algorithms. You're engaged behind the scenes, which means now you're more likely, your post is more likely to be seen by them if you post anything. 5 minutes before you post or go live, go ahead and like and comment and interact and send messages to spend 5 minutes interacting with people who follow you, who are your prospects, who you want them to see what you're saying. Do anything to interact with their pages so that when you post, they will see it. All right, those are my little tips for today. I had one girl who was who took my social media class and my Instagram class, and she literally in I don't remember if it was like a couple months or like 1 month, but she got 400 followers during the duration of my class. And I think my class was actually over a number of 8 weeks or something, and she literally got like 400 followers. She did every single thing I said. Now, I don't do everything single thing I say. I try to model it for my team, but I am like pretty content where I am. So I'm not like, it's like, yeah, eventually I'll get to 10,000 followers, and that's when you can have a swipe up. But if you're somebody who's really like, I don't have a lot of people on Instagram, and I don't feel like I have a lot of engagement, you want to do all the things every day. So post, I have my alarm go off at 7:30 a.m. every day. And if I feel like posting, I'll post at 7:30 a.m. because that is when you're going to get the most engagement for the rest of the day. Sometimes I post late the night before, and that also gets the 7 a.m. crew. But yeah, early morning posters are the best. The earlier, the better. The earlier you go live, the longer it's going to have traction all day long. As soon as someone comments on your post, it's going to stay much longer than if they don't comment in the first hour. So that's why sometimes people will like send, you know, you might see like Amy or Jilly or somebody say like, hey, go comment on my post, because that engagement is going to instantly make it stay longer on your page. Speaking of friends and friending each other, I want to say like, it's okay to friend people from this group. It's really not ideal to start following a bunch of random people on Imperium, because guess what that does? If you're following all kinds of people in side teams and up team and all over the place, and you're like, they're Purium, oh my God, I love them, I want to be friends with everyone in Purium. Guess what? Then your algorithms your algorithms are now saying, she just wants to talk to Purium people. So then you post this amazing before and after post. Nobody sees it except Purium people. And they're like, oh, cool, me too. And you're like, damn, everyone's like already on Purium. Why? Because you're friends with everybody on Purium. Okay. So they're like, oh, they're all in the same groups. Oh, they're all, Facebook algorithms is smart. Oh, they're all in the same groups. Okay, it's gonna be incestual here. We'll just show them all each other. And we're like, get me out of the algorithms. So in the beginning, you're tagging just a few people from your team, but you wanna get in the habit of when you post to tag people outside of Purium. And make sure it's okay to add Amy and Dave, right? You can follow Amy and Dave. Of course, we want to follow the leaders of the company, Sarah, etc. But your upline, right? But don't start getting all connected in your algorithms to all side people who are like all in Purium. Now, I have a caveat, which is that our UBT group, it's very insular, which is in a good way. This is great because all of you are interviewing each other, and we have a very intimate team of people who know each other and support each other and are all interviewing each other. We all interview 3 people a week. It's just like clockwork. And what I have seen is that on average, every 1 interview equals 1 enrollment. So if you're in my UBT group and you are enrolled and you are having an interview with somebody, you are likely to enroll 1 person. If you enroll 3 people in a week, that is going to give you not just the 660 points for the smart work for the ultimate life, the ULT pack, it's also going to give you 500 bonus points. And that's how you get to executive. If you enroll 3 people every single week with a smart order, you're always going to get those extra 500 bonus points. And then if you enroll 10 people in a month, that's another 1,000 bonus points. And then that equals 6,000, which is executive. That's why everyone's popping, right? We got all these people pop into executive. That's why they're following this rule of enrolling 3 people per week with a smart order. So the UBT, UBT stands for Ultimate Business Transformation. It's a play on ULT, and UBT is a company word. And then I have my accountability group. All the crowns have accountability groups. And so accountability groups is for like a group of people who are very committed to showing up every week. And I do have some people in my group who are not able to show up because they have work, but they show up. They will watch the replays on my YouTube channel. But it's so much better to be there live because we go into breakout rooms sometimes and and people talk and people share like, oh, this is what's working for me this week. And so everyone gets to hear like these new ideas. So staying close to the fire, we call it, staying close to the fire, staying close and connected and having like a rhythm of being with your team every day is a way to start to entrain. We start to entrain. It's like there is a concept of entrainment, which is actually a physics term. So like a physics concept where you're in training and you're like literally like resonating, like actual cells are actually like moving at the same frequency. You start to entrain with a group of people, and then everybody is like moving together like you see how fish do. They're all entrained. Fish are entrained, right? Birds, flocks of birds are entrained. And so this is actually why, and this is why one person's success becomes everyone's success, because it's like a match. Boom, it sparks, and then everyone sparks. So we have this really amazing, kind of energy together. So anyway, but you can watch the YouTube channel. There's a lot of recordings on there. All right, so where am I? What else can I talk about here? I think I went through most of the questions here. And we were going to talk about why, right? Was that what we were going to talk about, Julie? Or whys?
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out that Ashley said that, just going back a little bit about the sales and people not responding, is that she said just being in sales, it's not that they aren't interested, they just don't have it on the top of their priority. So I just wanted to recognize Ashley had posted that in the chat.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. Let me just look at that. I feel like I need to read it to like really, I think the stories today was super helpful to connect to anyone who you know with issues and that you just don't want, that you want to help and share a thing that could help. Being in sales, it is not that they aren't interested, they just didn't have it in their top priority. Yeah, if people aren't like, you know, signing up right away or whatever, they just don't have enough information. Literally, like they just don't have enough information, you know, because once people are really fully informed about the products and the mission and what it can do, and they've heard enough stories, it's like it's a no-brainer, like I need to do this. So sales is really just about building value for people, helping people see the value of something that actually will help them, in our case.
Rachel, can you go back just quickly to the UBT group and just explain how that process works?
Oh, so the UBT, so the first time, if you're brand new, if you've never been to it before, you can come as just a guest, and you can come and you can participate and you can experience it. After that, it requires an application, and the application is literally just a 4-step process that's designed to help you with your business. You're creating a business plan, very simple, just filling out your action plan, and then printing out 4 tracker sheets, committing to being there weekly. And then if you can't come, you just need to communicate to your upline, like, I'm not going to be there this week. And then let's see, action plan, tracker sheets, commitment, and then sending a picture and then a photograph of like your time blocks that you're like, okay, these are my time blocks for this week, or at least I'm going to try to do these time blocks this week. Some people have wonky schedules, so you want to create 90-minute time blocks, and these 90-minute time blocks are gold. It takes 45 minutes to develop concentration and to get into a flow state. And then once you're in that flow state, you want to leave it for another 45 minutes. So you're like in the groove now, you're prospecting, you're inviting people to something, you're doing something specific, you're inviting them, or maybe you're like talking to everybody who's commented on your last post. You're interacting. So 90-minute time blocks is the formula. And this is the formula that was passed on to me when I first started, and it works. 90-minute time blocks are key. In order to really get yourself to do these 90-minute time blocks, though, in order to really be able to commit to doing the business, you have to find out what your why is. We're kind of going backwards because now we're moving back into the why. So this is one of the reasons why we do vision calls. And a vision call doesn't have to be a surprise. It can be like, hey, you know, would you like to do a vision call? Like somebody's like, I don't know what my why is. Like, I don't know, like, I don't have a why that makes me cry. You can offer to do like a vision call with them in their upline, and then like actually have like a really nice connected one-on-one where it's like, let's just talk to this person specifically about their why. Like, what is their vision for their future? What is it that they need? What things are important to them? What is it that's motivating them? And this is a process. Most people don't have a why right off the bat. They don't really know. Some people are desperate off the bat. It's like, oh my God, I know like my child and I are homeless and I need to get out of, I mean, this has happened so many times in this company. I have several friends who were homeless, including myself. And we're like, I need to get out of homelessness. Like, this is just my why, is like, I need bottom line survival. Right. And Willow was one of those people. She's Sarah's upline, and she had twins. She had 4 children, husband, and they were living on Anini Beach in Hawaii in a tent, the 4 of them. And they were just really trying to figure out how to get ahead with 4 children. And this came, Purium came, and now she's a red diamond. And she's not in our team. She's not really like working her business. She's really living off residual income and just kind of living the life right now. She's been able to set herself up so she's kind of semi-retired. But she's an amazing woman. But now her kids are, you know, in high school and going to private school. Now they have a house. They own a nice car. Their kids are all in school and private schools. So they went from like living on the beach to that. And so I see this again and again and again for people who are, they have a real strong why from the beginning. So if you don't have a why, that's why we do a vision call, because here's the reality. Nobody is going to just try to do this business unless they have a reason to, because most people are like, oh, it's just like an MLM, or it's just like a little thing. Oh, I can sell a few packs. They can't really understand how they can just sell a few packs to making a little bit of money to making a lot of money. Like, it just seems there's not a lot of like, it's like, how do I get there? Like, that's just sort of like, what, you know, it's like, where, you know, like maybe they have like they have real strong desires. And they have a desire. Like, I can't tell you how many times I talk to people who are like, I want to have lands and live on a community, and like, I want to, you know, own lands. I want to start a community, and I want to homestead, and have these beautiful visions. And they've never thought about how much that's going to cost. or how long it'll take them to save to be able to create that. And so a vision call helps people visualize what they're creating in a very tangible way, and then be able to see a map of how to get there. Because very few people really connect all the dots for themselves. And if you are somebody who does connect the dots, congratulations, you're part of the rare group. But most people are just kind of like living day by day, like, I'm just trying to get here, and they know that they want this, but they don't have a plan. And so this is why the vision, the action plan is an important part of joining the UBT group, because the action plan, you're going to spend some time getting connected to your why. This is a good time to do a vision call with your upline. The action plan is going to help you decide, where am I trying to get to? How long is it going to take me there at the pace I'm going? And how long could it take me to get there if I follow the math with Purium? Could I get to this goal, whether it's financial or, or it's, physical? I mean, everything has a financial component to it. But, someone's goal might just be, I want to be in a healthy relationship. Well, guess what? Personal development here is going to improve all of your relationships. This is a people business, and how you get along with each other takes effort, because we have so many different personalities. We have people who get triggered. We all have triggers. We all get triggered by different things, right? So we're all gonna come in contact with all that stuff, but we're gonna have a lot of support working it out. I do facilitate conflict resolution calls for people on my team. It happens. But this is like, our personal development is also part of this process. And this is going to help us grow in so many ways other than just business. So rounding it back, the action plan is our business plan. And this is literally, without a plan, it's just a dream. What do they say? A dream without a plan is just a dream. So we want to actually make it tangible for you and help you get to those first goals, which are getting to consultant, director, and executive. We do want to know our long-term goal. Okay, I want to make 5,000 a month. I want to make 10,000 a month. But we want to have a tangible time of well, how long will it take me to get there? Well, how much time do you have? Do you have 10 minutes? I mean, 10 hours that you could commit to the business to get to a goal of, 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, whatever your thing is. And then if your answer is yes, I have that much time, then that's what's going to motivate you or your team member to actually start taking the steps to get to consultant. So it's really important. A lot of times what I see is leaders will just start saying, hey, okay, you got 10 days to go to consultant. They just give them all these, they just tell them what to do. It's all this stuff, but they haven't connected them with their why yet. And if you don't connect a person with their why, it's a lot harder to say, can you spend 10 hours a week doing this? Because it's no, I'm just if I'm going to just make a few $100s, I'm just going to do it when I can. I'm going to do it when I'm maybe on my lunch break, or a little bit here and a little bit there. But someone like Connie, who works full time, is pretty committed at making sure she learns she's learned the resources, that she watches trainings. She does her best to get on trainings whenever she can on her lunch breaks. She does her best to watch replays. She really, really tries to get informed, and she stays connected to her why. And we had someone today with Jilly. Jilly brought Jillian and Ginny brought someone today to a connect call with me. Someone kind of high powered, who's got a lot of energy, and she's but it turns out when we did, we went into her vision, and she really saw that she wants to leave her job. And what's her exit plan? Doesn't have one. What are we going to do? Let's connect with that idea, right? And let's figure out what is it how is this possible? Could this possibly be the bridge to your plan, to your exit plan, to your desire to have more time traveling? She was not moved by money. That wasn't her thing. She's not inspired by money. She's inspired by travel and freedom. So what's going to take it there? What resources? What do you need to be earning a month to be able to have travel and freedom? And so that number, it's okay, you give me a number, and I say, well, what if I could show you how to do that in this amount of time? Would you be willing to give me 10 hours a week? Okay, yes. Okay, cool. I can squeeze it out. And then I just say, well, this is what that 10 hours a week is going to look like. Let me just kind of paint the picture for you. 4 hours of training, 6 hours of time blocks. If they can't do that, I'm okay, then 2 hours and 4 hours, or 1 hour and 3 hours. But it's I want to help a person, connect a person from their idea of where they're going, and how this can support that, because they're here to support that. That's why they're on this call. If they're here to be a brand partner, they're here to support that vision. So anyway, all right. Sound good? How's everybody doing?
This is so good.
This is perfect, Rachel. This is exactly what we need to hear. Keep talking.
Okay,
Drop a 1 if you're digging this. Drop a 1 if you're digging this.
What is connecting here for you? Like, what are you all hearing? Like, why don't we, let's have some of you participate a little bit. Just want to hear kind of like, where is this landing for you? Like, what are you hearing in this discussion with myself, in this dialogue, in this monologue? Feel free to come off mute and just share. If anyone feels like it.
I think for me, it's just always just really sticking to what your why is, because you can get really sidetracked if you don't reconnect to that. And you always go back to your why all the time, because you might get flustered, or like, might be like, oh, I've had enough for the day, or like I'm just taking a break. But if you just go back to your why, you understand why you're putting in that effort and what's the outcome of doing that. So it pushes you to keep going, because you have that strong why of what's motivating you. If you don't have anything that's motivating you, you're not gonna do anything, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna try and learn or help yourself.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else? And it's okay if you all say the same thing, because it can be said several times and still be different.
Well, I'm just figuring out my why. I know for me it was personal. Just I've been suffering for a long time, and just to feel good. I know a lot of people are walking around with a mask on and they're hurting, especially this past year. And I'm just like, you have no idea. You don't have to feel like this. You can feel better. So I this is just, all super new to me. And thank you, Rachel. Today, like, I've got a bunch of people that might be interested or are interested, and I was like, I need a recording from today. You gotta go to Rachel's part. And like, I love your passion and your ability with the product knowledge, because you just, as you said, you're bringing value to the products, and that's where I need to get better at, is so that I understand things and bring value to it. So that's going to be my why, is learning how to transition how I'm feeling and to be able to explain it better. That's yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And like, so much of, and this is the other thing too, as far as the funnel, like you're talking about, like funnel, and like, how do I inspire people? How do I get them to, how do I connect the dots for them so they really see this is what they want? And so I just want to kind of at this moment briefly review the funnel. And it's really important it's done in order. So we always start with inspire before we inform. So if you have people who are interested and then you send them the link, like they haven't actually built value yet. You have to build value before you send them the information about the Superfood Social and all the products. They have to have buy-in first. They have to be like inspired. People do not make decisions from their head. They do not make decisions from their intellect, as much as they try to tell you they want. I want to know what this is. I want to know if this is like, like, is this made from the gelatin of a horse's tail that was born from a dragon? You're like, what the hell? Like, why is this person asking me this crazy ass question? Does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. Yes, they want to know. Yes, we'll give them the information they can. We don't always have the information for everyone. If they are really if they have seen enough stories, they are going to say yes. If they have seen enough information, not information, but stories and inspiration, that bit of that intellectual material become less important, because it's so cerebral, it's not connected in the heart. If you have inspired a person, they're super stoked, and then suddenly they change into like, well, I want to know all these detailed information, and like, well, if this one little thing is not organic, which everything is, but if this one little thing's not organic, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, they're trying to convince themselves out of it for a reason. And this is not for everybody. Not everybody's ready to totally change their lives and transform. Not everybody's ready to do a business that's so revolutionary and so transformative, And so I'm not saying that that these people should be discredited in their search for information because some people are really, really sick and every little ingredient matters and they need to know because they're scared, they're terrified. Fine, we're going to do our best to get the information. We might not always get them that information. We might not always have the information. We might not have access. There's some business secrets, so we can't always give everyone every single trade secret. So I don't know. But point is, I really, the most important tool you have in your arsenal for supporting people to get past their blocks is stories. Everything is with a story. So the Core 4 Nutrition Group and the hashtag Core 4 launch are where all the stories are. The other places, your interviews. Your interviews is going to build your entire audience's belief in you and the product, because when they hear so many people sharing different stories, I had migraines, I had tinnitus, I had, Lyme disease, I was struggling with pain, inflammation, on and on and on and on. The more they hear this information, it takes 5 to 7 exposures before a person says yes. 5 to 7 exposures before a person says yes. So you have to find a way to get 5 to 7 exposures. If you're doing 3 lives a week, trust me, you are giving them tons and tons of exposures. Guess what else gives them exposures? You put them in the Facebook group, Core 4 Nutrition group. That is like you just put a magazine of like 100 stories in front of them. You like invite them to the group. Now they're just going to go in there and they're going to expose themselves to 10, 20, 30 stories. They're like just going to roll to their heart's content. And then they're going to come to you and go, okay, what's next? This is really interesting. If they are ready for that next piece of information, guess what? I have good news for you. It means that they are saying yes. It means they've decided. If someone asks you for more, they have decided. They really want that to get through to you. They have decided they're going to do it. And now there's this little bit of like, okay, I want you to convince me. Like they want you to convince them. They're looking for convincing. They're like, please let this be the answer to my prayers. Please tell me this is all the things I hope it is. Please tell me yes. Please tell me, because I really, really want to believe in this, because I really need this and I'm really ready to say yes. So now you're like, okay, let me give you some information. Now you send them the link, superfood.social. Here's where you can learn more about this. The connect call comes next. They're like, okay, how do you sign up? What do I do? Right? How much is it? Whatever. They have all these questions. So now so the connect call happens last. It's the third thing that happens. However, I like to set up the call at the beginning. Before we get through all 3, I at least like to have the call ready. So when they're interested, they're like, this is really amazing. Like, what are you doing? I say, well, hey, let's chat. Let's have a talk. When are you free? I check with my upline. Are you free tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Sarah? She may say yes, she may say no, but I'm going to try to work it out with her schedule. Now, then we're going to come to the connect call. We've gone through that. So then they said yes, we set it up. Now I'm going to take them through the steps. Here's Core 4 launch. Here's the superfood.social page, blah, 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 right? As soon as they're ready, though, and they're excited, you definitely want to set up that connect call as soon as possible. Now we get to the connect call where I'm going to edify everybody. I'm going to edify, I'm going to introduce them. But here's how I get people. The number one place that new people crack, where they can't figure out their way out to the next step in the funnel. How do I get them on a connect call? They don't want a connect call. As soon as somebody tells me they don't want a connect call, this is what I understand. It means you've told them they were going to be on a connect call, which is very intimidating. No one wants to be on a connect call. No one wants to meet another person. What is a connect call? That's all jargon. I'm going to be upsold. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Nobody wants to get on a call. I'm going to have to tell them about my IBS. That's so personal. Why would I meet another person? Jane, you're off of mute. If you could mute, please. So, it's like, how are you going to get them interested? Just invite them to a call with you. When you're on the call with them, then you can build the value, again, building the value of possibility of bringing another person onto the call. And I'm just like, hey, you have got to meet my friend, Jilly. She is so amazing. Like, her story is incredible. You should really hear her story. Like, she's just like you, mom, dad, whatever, parents. She's just like you. And she's got an incredible story. And I feel like, and I also told her I was going to be talking to you, and she said she was going to be available around now. She said she'd be happy to come on and share her story. They're like, okay. You say, let me just add her to the call and she can just talk to you for a minute. Okay. bring Jilly onto the call, edify Jilly, edify my prospect, and I'm just going to mute and listen. And that is my training. And I'm just going to listen. I can sell, any one of you can sell a pack without a connect call. That is not the point. The point of a connect call is to connect a person to community. It'll do two things. One, it'll give them a sense of community, which everyone's starting for all the time, even these days especially, but even when it's not COVID, people are looking for community. That sense of community is going to make them way more likely to stay a customer for life and feel committed to this, loyal to this company. And it's way more because they're going to appreciate that customer service. And it's number two, going to make them way more likely to sign up as a brand partner. Because they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Look at these cool people. I could work with these people. I could have support. You mean I could actually start a business where there's other people? It's like my business and other people are supporting me? What? Like, who has that? No other business. You know, I started a wedding photography business. I was alone for like 15 years doing that business. It was like, Jesus Christ. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. So I was just like, geez, I need some help. Right? So anyway, they're going to be way more likely to understand the concept of the business as soon as they've met a third person. I have friends in this company, Skylar, who's now a 4-star. She hits 4-star crown when I hit 2-star crown. Skylar is one of my good friends, fire dancer, my upline. She spent a year doing her own calls, but she would not do connect calls for her whole first year. And she was stuck at executive. She never ranked for a whole year. And then finally she understood, oh, everyone who's ranking up is doing connect calls. Okay, I guess I should do that. And she did it. And within a year she was crowned. So she went from an executive crown in a year. And literally it was the connect calls. The connect calls, we say, is the heart of the business. They can be short or they can be long. When you're brand new, they're going to be a lot longer. When you're brand new, your upline is going to take them through the entire process for you until you are familiar with the process, until you are comfortable with the process. If you are a really busy person, you don't have a lot of time, you want to just keep it quick, you can do what's called a pop call. You say, I just want you to hear her story really quick. Jilly jumps on the call. She just gives a 2-minute version of her story and she jumps off. Boom. You send them a permalink, they're enrolled, and that's it. That's another option. That can happen too. But don't deprive your people of even just having at least one other person on the call for a moment, because you're depriving them of an experience that could be invaluable to them in the long run. A connection to somebody else who's going to help them, support them, and the opportunity to join a business. We may or may not talk about the business on that call. It's going to be up to how the call goes and what the person says. But we're definitely going to connect with that person and bring them into the community. And that person is going to be grateful and feel supported. And that is going to create longevity customer and a very possible longevity brand partner. All right. Okay, let me get off my soapbox here. All right, what are you guys hearing or questions?
The connect call is super important because it shows them that, yeah, the support in the community, but it also leads them into how to order their product and get the experience that they want, and it's ordered properly too. So there's been issues where there hasn't been connect calls, and then we have to spend the time to try and fix it. So it's important to be able to relay the information and walk them through their first order. It's kind of, you have to hold their hand. It's a handheld process. It's not just, here you go, do it, because it's all new for them too. We know all the information, but it's a bit of hand holding for the first order. Like, you're there to help them, get them through step by step placing their order so that they're comfortable and they understand how the system works and how to place an order, because it's not as easy as just picking an item, because you have to choose your product too. And if you choose the wrong product, then you have to deal with trying to contact customer service and fixing it. And we want them to have the best experience on their first day. So it's really important, I think.
Beautiful. Thank you. And here's what I want to say too. If you spend an hour with a customer, you're like, oh, I'm going to make $80. Like I just spent an hour and a half with them or whatever. Like, is it worth it? Well, let me tell you, you have a loyal customer for life. You invested an hour and a half of your time with that person, or an hour with that time with that person. That's 400. If they just stay on the Core 4 daily, that's $444 a year from that one person, from that one call. And average person is going to stay on at least 3 years, 3 to 4 years. And if they become a brand partner, they're usually a customer for life. So is it worth it to really give that person that time? Even from the point of view of you're changing their friggin' life, like, hello, you've just basically gained 1,000,000 points in karma because that person is now going to live 20 years, 30 years longer and have way happier life because of you. All right. Well, who was going to go next? Sorry about that.
I have a question.
Okay.
How do you get someone on a Connect call like after the fact? So I tried getting one of my customers on a Connect call twice and she wasn't having it. She was like, and I wasn't using like, let's do a Connect call. You know, I was
right. Yeah. You weren't saying like the cheesy thing.
Yeah. And she was like, no, I just want to talk to you. And so now she has her product and she's starting today. And it's like, I still want to somehow get her on a Connect call. I'm stuck. I don't know how.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't, but here's what you can do to try. Sometimes you can't and you just let it go. Like they're not going to do a Connect call, but what you can do is say, hey, like we're going to set you, like give them the expectation, say, when you get your product, I'm going to introduce you to Jilly so she can like, explain everything to you and give you the product experience, or she can, help you. She's going to give you the same support she gave me. So they're expecting it. And then when it comes around, they just do it.
Okay. So it's sort of like you're just telling them how it's going to be.
Yeah. You're just like creating an expectation around it. Like, so when you get your product, let me know. I'll introduce you to Jilly then, and then she's going to support you from there. Or she's going to support you in like getting started.
Okay.
Or,
sorry.
Or you say when you're finished with your first 10 days, we're going to do a little health check-in. And you're going to have a wellness consult with Jilly.
Okay, so I'll do that then because she just started today.
Yeah.
And that's
or Connie. Sorry, Connie's your direct upline. Excuse me.
right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many of you. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to lose track of who's under who, but I know your faces and I know your names.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome. So that was helpful. Do you feel like confident with that?
Yeah. I will do I'm gonna have to watch this Zoom again just to get the right wording down because I fumble with my words quite a bit. But
I understand. You can always
getting
ask
her in 10 days would be good.
You can always ask for the wording in a group thread. Like we really, one of the things that this team is strong at is if you don't know how, I encourage people to their first month, I'm like, send me a screenshot of every single conversation you're having. Don't do anything on your own. I'm like micromanaging people on their first 10 days. Cause I'm like, I do not want you to miss a sale. I want you to get the consultant bonus. I want you to get that $100 bonus. It's really important. So I'm like, send us a screenshot of every single thing that's going on. And it may seem like a little overkill. You're like, oh my God, am I going to bother them? No, you're not. This is actually how we do the business.
Okay. Cause that's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to keep bugging Connie and Jill. I'm asking them like so many questions.
Trust me, that's just the way it is. So in the hierarchy of things, it'll be Connie who will try to respond. So when you have an upline thread, just know that there's sort of like an order of things, right? The person who's closest to your direct upline is going to try to answer the question first. If they can't answer it, the next person will, and the next person. If it takes too long, the next person will. I'm always going to be the last to answer on a thread. So you may see me on a bunch of group threads. I may not answer because for one thing, I have a lot of group threads, so I may or may not even see it. But Jilly or Connie will say, hey, can you respond to this person in that thread? And it brings my attention to that thread so I can work on there. A lot of questions happen in the core for the Purium transformation support group is a great place to have people ask questions. Like, do you really want to duplicate people using the support group and then tagging you? Just say, you use a support group, but tag me anytime you post. That way, if you can see, is anyone answering her question and are they answering it correctly? And if somebody else has given a lengthy answer, that's like 5 minutes of your time free. And when you have 100 customers, that 5 minutes of time is so valuable. You're like, oh, that just saved me 5 minutes. I don't have to answer that, you know? If you're in a group thread and you're answering every single person's question, it's not sustainable. Over time, once you get past time, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and let's talk about the power of 3 in this business. You know, you have your UBT, you sign 3 people up a week. That's 3. You have, what's our other 3? We train in the power of 3. I was going to end with that one, but there's another third I was thinking of. What am I missing? I just said it today.
3 lives a
Wide
week.
orders.
3 lives a week, 3
Okay.
wives each. Thank you, Robin. Is that what you said that, Robin? 3 lives a week, Emily, 3 UBTs and then we train always in the power of 3. So try never to direct message just one person on the team. Always bring your upline in or somebody else, because 1, your question's going to get answered faster. 2, your downline or your upline is always learning and training. Well, and 3, it's going to save time too, because as you guys all get busier, you know, and use the Team Canada chat to ask the question there so that everybody learns. And I bet you before your upline even gets there, somebody's going to be able to jump in, which is empowering people as well to share their knowledge that they learned. Yeah, that's my take.
I was going to add something to Carrie's question. Something that I do, which is a little bit cheeky, but it works, is to get somebody onto a connect call. Once they're showing some interest, I'll just say, oh, when's a good time to hop on a call with you? Let them respond, and then make the call, like set the time for it. And either at that time or just before the call, I'll say right then, like, okay, I've got somebody available and she's going to hop on and just introduce herself, and she's who got me started. And you kind of trap them a little bit, but it works. So.
Thank you.
You're on mute, Rach.
So you're saying you trap
That's
me,
hysterical.
Emily, is what you're saying. That's,
Hysterical.
I'm just having fun. It was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically saying, hey, I invited my Jilly to come join the call for a second because I really want you to hear her story. Boom,
You
you
know,
just
I
set up an
didn't-
expectation.
I thought the Connect call was awesome. It was nice. Yeah. It showed that sense of community. So yeah.
Right. And
Well,
here you
that's what
are.
they
you
don't
joined the
always
community.
see, right? Not everybody sees that. I feel like a lot of people feel as soon as the third person's coming on, like, oh, now they're going to sales pitch me. And so if you kind of get that vibe from the person, I just leave it as a very last minute thing that they typically don't have a lot of choice in the matter.
Way to go, Emily. That's some cojones right there. Ovaries.
Yeah.
Ovaries.
And I mean, ultimately they're happy afterwards. They just don't have time to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
why
I
I just say,
Sorry, Rachel.
I don't know, go ahead.
I was just going to say on the Connect call, you know, the power of 3, you've got your upline training. Our goal isn't to be a salesperson, and they don't need convincing at that point. They've already heard the stories. We're just inspiring stories. And I think, you know, with a Connect call, when people stay muted and you let your upline just do the flow, there's like this methodical plan. And I was the worst at this with Rachel. I did, I don't know, 15 Connect calls with Rachel at the beginning. And I was so awkward because I was like, oh my God, they need to know I'm still here. And I like take myself on mute, like, ha, or like, I just like, oh, totally. And then you should do this. And she'd be text me. She's like, Jill, stop talking. And I'm like, oh, I just feel like I should say something. But really, now that I'm in the upline position of a Connect call, you're like, but I was just, so
You kind of trust your upline. Your upline has a plan. Your upline has a trajectory. Your upline's going to take their own sweet time with things. They're going to get to all the information, but they're going to take their time. And so you just got to trust them that they're going to get to all the information that you need them to. But they're doing it in a certain order. And everyone's scared of silences. We had a whole call on silences, I think, recently, which was like the cliffhanger, I call it. which is this particular moment in the conversation where I tell them the price. Pregnant pauses. I'm like, see, Jane's a master now. Where I'm like, I tell them the price and I wait. I go, so yeah, so I go, so I've given them the breakdown. It's, you know, $15, $16 a day for, you know, 2 meals a day and your supplements for, you know, a month, 30 days. So it's 60 of your 90 meals. They're like, okay. And they're like, so what does that come to? I'm like, so that's you know, that's whatever, 482 Canadian. I don't actually know what it is, but it's like, whatever, 482 Canadian. I let them think about it. I'm like, 482 Canadian. And so now they're like, they got the information they were looking for because they asked me a question. Now they got the information. It's their turn. I'm just going to let them think about it. And a lot of times we're like, this is where people jump in. They go, but don't worry. I mean, like, it saved me lots of money. And this is where the downline jumps in almost always when they're new. Like that pause scares them. They're like, oh my God, they're going to say no. They're backing out. It's an awkward silence. Oh my God, awkward, you know. But actually what's really happening is they're going, let's see, I have some money in my savings. I don't have that in my bank account right now. I might have to move money first. Or maybe I could use this other credit card and then I can replace it later. Or maybe my mom will loan me the money. So they're literally just thinking about it. And you've got to give people time to think about what they're doing. Oh, I need to ask my husband first. You just got to give them that moment. They're the one, it's their turn. So you got to recognize whose turn it is in the conversation. Your upline has seasoned, your upline has done this many times. So they know, they're comfortable, they're okay with it. We just got to be careful not to project our fears onto our upline. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to buy it right now. And then you're like, okay, let me walk you through the process. Right. And that's the other thing too, at the end of the call is you want to just assume that they're buying it. It's just, if you don't make that assumption, you're like, so, you know, we'll get back to me someday. They're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to buy it right now. Like you're telling them what you're telling them, you're giving them permission to either buy it or giving them permission to go. And so you want to give them permission to stay. And they are very likely going to be super stoked and want to order right then. Sometimes they need a little bit of time. And so then you go, cool. Well, Julie will be here to be, I'm using Julie because she's my direct downline. So I use her name a lot. I mean, you know, Julie will take care of you when you're ready to sign up. She's going to walk you through the order because she's going to help make sure that you get everything, you know, you're going to customize your cart. Simple. Now I'm going to read the chat. 49. Okay, thank you. What do you say when Connie, when you say, where are you getting that conversation from? What do you mean?
The conversion, I don't understand because I've never seen it that low before. So I'm not sure where that.
I was just checking Google every day. Just like,
Yeah, but are you checking the banks though? Because the banks are different.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, if you go onto RBC, like if you go RBC exchange rate or TD, and you plug in the amount, it's typically it's higher than that.
Oh, is it? Oh no,
Yeah.
I just go to Google.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. Well, it could be
Yeah.
changing. So
Okay,
yeah,
good to
the
know.
exchange rate is going to determine it.
Mhm.
And
I had
eventually, hopefully
someone
we'll
sign
have it. We'll have the numbers in Canadian. Sorry, go ahead.
Please.
I had someone sign up yesterday, maybe was it yesterday, Connie, or 2 days ago, and she paid $477 after taxes, if that helps.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I just got a message from Marietta and she just signed her first brand partner and she's on the call. So congratulations, Marietta.
Yay, congratulations.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Who else do we have to congratulate today? Aren't there some like new consultants or anything?
Geez, there's a lot going on in this team.
Shout yourself out. I think Kevin got a consultant.
Kevin's
got
consultant.
it.
Yeah, Kevin.
Boop, boop.
Nicole's consultant, Robin's
Wow.
executive,
Woohoo.
inching diamond, which is amazing. Connie's inching.
Jane's 5% away.
From executive?
Yeah, it could come tomorrow morning when they do the wanting to reach point uploads.
Oh, hell yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And Shannon's not on the call, but she's going to watch the recording. She was so ready to jump in, and she had her first customer, and she strategized. You might remember me talking about her having her running shoes on, and it was all like the strategy of her 10 days was going to start.
Oh, that was Shannon.
Upgraded.
Oh,
then,
she was one in the hat at Julie's house. Okay, now I get it.
but
I didn't
then,
recognize her.
but then that person pulled out. Like the person bought the product, bought the wrong one, and then when customer service called her to upgrade her package and get the money from her, she canceled the order. So that just really deflated Shannon. And
That's weird.
so we had the chat about it's okay if, we're just going to keep going, but because I didn't know that she had any other prospects. And then in the last 24 hours, she just got 2. So she's going to make Fast Start Consultant.
Yay!
Yeah, she's plugging away. She's doing her live. She's going to have all her widen your reaches and
Fantastic.
people. So yeah. So shout out to Shannon for when she watches the recording.
Way to go. That's exciting.
I want to shout out to Ginny because she's about to hit executive this month. She's just like, she's right there. We got 5 days and it's going to happen. She's awesome. Ginny's clearly been in sales all her life. She knows exactly what to do. She finishes my sentences. She's such a natural. She's also one of my very best friends. And this is the coolest part of this business is that you get to work with your friends. And it's like,
so great.
you can talk to them more. And yeah, it's amazing.
So good. You're a good coach too. So. I'm
Love
Great
learning.
leadership. Yeah, great leadership. I think a lot of great leadership on this team. It's really inspiring. Let's see. How about we hear from some of the new people? A couple words from maybe Ashley and Cherie. I don't know. You're not on video, so I don't know if you're available. So, but I just thought I
think Ashley's getting her little one to bed, so she might
Okay.
not.
There she is.
I'm here. Mine's asleep now. They're asleep.
Oh, good. Hey, nice to see you, Ashley.
Yeah, I didn't have any. It's kind of a weird thing for me to say. I don't feel like I want to add a lot because I have a career that is like I'm self-employed and I could actually get my license pulled if I put too much to any other business. But I just said in the front end, and I haven't even started. I have ordered my stuff. I haven't even started it yet, and I had people interested. So that's kind of where I was like, well, hey, I know that if I like something enough that if I share it, they'll be interested and they'll buy it. And so then it was kind of, well, why not just be a brand partner right off the bat anyway? And even if I haven't started it, I've already had people interested because of course, if you hear stories, they could help people. Why wouldn't I want to share that story? Husband's making his blender or whatever for tomorrow. But yeah, my husband was probably the big, for crying out loud, he's probably the hardest person to sell. And he's starting it with me. So there's also the side part of that where I see that the changes that is going to happen with him are going to be evident in his life and his people and his whatever's going on as well. And so it's kind of, well, it's twofold in that sense when it's in a household. And so I figured, why not in that sense? And it's interesting today being on that other call that, anytime you hear stories that connect you, I've been on the Facebook page, I feel like for like 2 months, but time is a bit of a time warp in COVID, that you see stories and then you can connect to people that that have those issues. And so, hey, listen, I heard this story from someone today, like Rachel, you talked about Hashimoto's. I messaged 2 people that I know that have Hashimoto's, and they're now, one of them's interested and is, kind of down with like, yeah, send me whatever. And it's just the whole same thing. I'm like, listen, I heard a story and it's blown my mind. Why would I not want to share it with you? I mean, I have no idea.
Perfect.
I have really bad family history. Like my dad passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease or ALS, and I have my genes tell me that I have 50% chance of getting that. So I'm like, why would I never want to do anything for my health to make it better? Why wouldn't I choose that? So that's kind of just like my bit.
Yeah. I remember we talked before, and I can't remember what business you're in. What is it that you do again?
I'm a financial advisor with
And
Sun
so
Life.
so you're a financial advisor. You can get your license pulled if you have another business.
Well, basically how the whole thing is within the industry of I guess it's in investments and insurance, you have licenses for each thing. And so you have to say that if you have an outside business activity, and if you're putting efforts into making money elsewhere, then they have to know. what you're doing so that you're not holding yourself out in a wrong way to your clients. Because of course, if I have clients that I'm recommending 2 different products or 3 different products or whatever it is, then it can be cross-selling. There's like rules around that all in my industry. So
Is it a direct sales business? Is that why?
it's not direct sales. Like I'm contracted through companies to sell their products.
Okay.
But I have a one, like Sun Life Financial is my one company that I you know, I'm contracted with, and it's my umbrella that I hold. And so yeah, I can lose my license with that company if I, you know, do hold myself out in the wrong way, basically.
Got it. Okay.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
I've just
Thanks for
made it
explaining that.
clear where my priorities lie, but that I'm happy to share it, even if I didn't make any money. It has nothing to do with that for me. I'm happy to share it. I said to Jane and Connie, I'll just share it with you guys. I don't need to be a brand partner or whatever, but you know, it's kind of like, well, if it just makes sense to pay for my product, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, sounds like you're on your way. Get that consultant bonus. That seems pretty easy for you. And here's the thing. If you have other people who are brand partners and they're doing the business for you, are you really actually doing the business? I mean, it's like if you find just other people to do that work for you and you're just supporting some 3 people leading in other areas that are not in competition with what you're doing, you can
Well,
flourish.
and that's, I think that the other thing about that is that what you said about changing people's lives. And right now you see so many people and you come across so many people that need a change in their lives. And so why would you give them the opportunity? They can choose to take it or not. And,
Exactly.
you know, if it's going to change their life and they're going to try a product that so many people are looking for a product to change their life anyway. So why not? And who cares where it goes after that? And yes, again, that's why I'm like, sure, I can put a little bit or a lot to this, but it'll be on my weekend. It'll be my weekend thing.
I guess I'm kind of curious about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Like, are you technically, but even by enrolling one person, is that like bad? Is that, or you just have to like have a no compete clause where you're not selling this to your clients?
I haven't asked my management team where it sits in this, and yes, because I did this last week, but I wasn't sure at the point anyways where how much time would I be putting to this, and I was very clear on, you know, my time during the week hours, and where I've said that my hours are for my job, my career. That, and it's also my business. I mean, I am self-employed, so it's what I put to that and how much money I can make to that. I know it's my business. So
yeah,
you know, so it's all that I just know that this is something that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to want to share it. And so I will put it this at some point, if it becomes like I'm making money doing this, or I want to put outside time to it. That's when I would have to say, listen, this is an outside business activity for me. Yeah, in that sense. I could be like a treasurer for a school board, and then I would have to say that that's an outside business activity because it's outside of my time, not doing work. So.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can have more conversations about this. This is an interesting discussion.
Yeah, no worries.
I love that. Cool. And then who was the other person?
Mariana, do you have a question? Oh, Cherie, sorry. Yeah. Is she, I don't know if Cherie's putting her guy down. Oh, Cherie, hi.
You're muted, honey.
Of course I am. There I am. Sorry, I have been here the whole time. I've just moved into my new place and I am like unpacking like a demon.
No worries, no worries. I hope
I'm hanging my shower curtain.
Location freedom, girl. You can work from your shower. It's all good.
Oh, I'm hoping in the bath. It'll be quite nice.
I can't tell you how many times I've worked my bath. Okay, cool. Continue. Carry on.
Yeah, I've just been listening, really. Taking it all in because I think what am I on? I'm on day, I don't even know. Well, this is my day 20 of the program, but I guess I'm on I signed up on Wednesday last week, I think. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't really like got any like interest as such. Like lots of people have reached out or said that they were interested, and I'll send a message, but then I don't hear back from them. So I'm not sure
Have you?
what to do there.
Okay, so I would do like photograph, screenshot your conversations and send them to your upline, including
Okay.
me. All right.
Okay.
And so that this is an example. See, this is what we do. We want to find cracks in the funnel. So send those screenshots to all of us so that we can like help you like communicate and show
Okay.
you like what you think, give you ideas of what to say. Are you doing live? Are you interviewing people?
Yeah, I did Ginny yesterday.
Perfect.
And I think I'm going to do Jill sometime this week, and Connie and her mom, because I'm trying to get my mom on it right now,
Yes.
but
Perfect.
I don't know if I can send it to New Zealand or not. So
Yeah, we weren't sure about that, but I think you can. I think
Yeah.
where there's a will, there's a way.
I hope so. I'm gonna, if you guys, if we can't find it out, I'm just gonna ring customs myself and be like, yo,
Cool.
help a sister out here. I need to know what I can, because I want it for my mama.
I think you can just send it in a. I think you can just send it in a pack. Do they really know what you're sending to people if you just like ship it from yourself and not through like the company? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just wrap it in gift paper and be like,
Just send it. I mean, I guess if they X-ray it, what are they gonna find? Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work through that one. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me about New Zealand. Mariana, I feel like I haven't really connected with you, so I'd love to hear any thoughts you're having right now.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just asking Jill about this new brand partner. I know that I don't know how much she wants to be in the business. I think she's understanding it. So I just added her to all the Facebook groups that I know. And then I don't know what else to do after that. So that was my question for Jill. And I asked Melina,
Perfect.
but Melina, yeah, so that's my question.
Well, good. Well, then Jilly can walk you through that. Or who's above? Sorry, who's your whole upline? I'm totally trying. I'm like losing track of people.
Melina's
Melina, and then above Melina is
Emily.
Emily. Okay, Emily. All right, cool. So Emily and Jilly can help you out with that. They're gonna help you like know what steps. So always ask whenever you're like, what's the next step? Just like make sure that they're involved in your process with each person right now until you're until you're director. And then you'll like start to, and then even after that, you can still do that. I still have people who are diamonds who are asking me, but Jilly still asks me, what do I say to this person?
Every day.
Always my baby, always my baby.
Well, and that's why you get ahead, because you're not afraid to ask, just don't be shy and bring it
So
on.
important. It's so important. Asking questions is really like the sign of a leader and a success. That's what's going to give you success in the business, is never be shy to ask. And just, I also wanted to mention too, like if you're on a group thread with me, I'm just efficient. So don't ever take it like, oh, Rachel doesn't want to talk to me, or Rachel's being like mean to me, or like, or she's kind of rough. It's like, just know that I'm quickly moving through text. I'm like answering things as quickly as I can. I just kind of like, I'm like efficient. That's all. Sometimes I have time. Sometimes I'm like more lackadaisical and I might send a heart, or send some emojis. But don't ever feel like I don't care, or that I'm not interested, or that I'm like busy or bugged. Don't ever think you're bugging me. I love you all. I really do. I really appreciate every single one of you. You all have helped me. You've all helped my family. Because of you all, my family in the Philippines is having regular meals and, actually surviving. So I'm super grateful for every single one of you. Love you long time. All right, cool. Well, it's kind of like we've been together for an hour and a half. Thank you.
Just super quickly, Felicia, did you want to say anything? We didn't get to Felicia.
Felicia left, I think.
okay.
Oh no, there she
No, I'm
is.
here.
Oh,
No, I'm here, but
and
no,
Nicole's
I'm
here
good.
too.
Yay.
I'm good. Thank you for all the information though. It's been awesome.
Good. What resonated with you? Like which things stood out for you?
Just following up with people. It's probably, I get the no, and then I kind of like, oh, okay, I don't want to bug them. So I just got to be a little bit more, following up better with people.
7 times.
Yeah. So I just don't want to bug people, but at the same time, yeah, I get that.
You can ask them where they're at.
Yeah.
And again, if you get stumped and you're like, I don't know what to say next, again, send a text, send a picture of your communication to your upline.
Yeah. And I'm just learning how to post. I'm getting better at that because I'm horrible at it. So Jane's been helping me a lot with that.
In the past, I may have been horrible with it, but now this is semantics is something that I really love to play with, because I feel like the energy that what we say to ourselves, we're like putting an energy out there. And so my mentor always would have us reframe something and put it into the positive light. Like if we said something bad about ourselves, she would go, in the past, and we would all have to repeat it. In the past, I blah, 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 blah. Now I'm like this. So you're stepping into some new information, some education, some social media awareness. It's all coming to you. Yeah, so glad you're here. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for bringing your voice in. All right.
Thanks. And what about Nicole? Do you want to say anything, Nicole?
No, I think I'm just doing pretty good over here in the corner. On my screen, I'm in the corner. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, thanks for all the information tonight. And I wrote down a lot of notes, so that's helpful. And definitely, I think I'm on the same page as Kevin, wanting to know as much as I can about the products, because that's where I sort of get lost. I also have quite a few times where people don't want to have the connect call. And they've been people that I know quite well. And I know that if I didn't want to have a connect call, like when Connie was asking me, and I've known Connie for a long time, and she wanted to have a connect call, and I was like, oh, sure, no problem. Oh, no problem. And so we did the 2 connect calls with Rachel and Jill. Thank you. But my two of my customers, if I had brought them into a connect call, that would have been gone. They would not, like, can you imagine, Connie, like Sharon, hello, right? Like there's no way. And the same with the one that I just did 2 days ago. She was adamant, and she is adamant, and I will eventually get her like into something for sure. But that's my one thing, is I can sell, but I cannot over push.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely would not want to over push. And some people you can't, some people you won't get onto connect calls, and that's totally fine. You can probably get them on a connect call later when they're on their transformation, or after they've like lost 20 pounds, and they'll be like, I can't wait to brag, It's totally okay.
If I could add, because I empathize with what you're saying with the connect calls. The 2 people I signed up is husband and wife, and he's, that blue collar, owns his own commercial electrical company. And I was like, do this connect call. It's like, what? I don't have time for, and I said, so I felt like I was the one that was like nervous trying to promote. And then I just kind of was like, you know what, dude, it's really goofy, but I promise you it'll make you feel better, and it'll be good for your, so I kind of empathize. I'm like, it sounds weird, sounds goofy, just roll with it, and afterwards he was just like, wow, that was really cool. Like, they really care. And that starts that community, right? And then the wife really loved it. So then she felt more comfortable about chiming into the group because she's talked to people. But yeah, it was
very cool. Very cool. So one thing is, I never tell anybody there's going to be a connect call ever. I don't even use that word connect call. Just same for the whole group, So like, we never want to say, hey, do you want to get on connect call? Because the answer will always be no, 100% of the time. But if you're like, you can get them on a call with yourself, like, hey, when you're free to chat, let's talk. And then once they're on the call, you can talk to them. And then you start talking about your friend Jilly or Emily and how cool they are, or Connie. It's like, oh, my friend Connie, she's so awesome. Her story is so great. You should really hear her story. I'd love for you to meet her. In fact, I told her I was going to be on a call with you, and I know she's free right now. Let me just see if I can just, add her in really quick, and she can just tell you her 2-minute story. And then they're like, okay. Usually they just say, okay. They may, once in a blue moon, someone might say no, but honestly, like as long as I've been in this business, I've actually never had anybody, not even one person decline a connect call, because I've never said, do you want to get on a connect call? And it's always been spontaneous in the moment. Hey, let me add my friend on. You love this person. You've got to meet my friend Sarah. She's so awesome. They're like, okay. literally they're like, they don't even like know what they think. They're like, "Mm, all right, whatever. You know, they're kind of like, that's sort of strange. If anything, they might think like, that's kind of weird, but okay. You know? So it's, and then once they're done, they're like Kevin said, like they're so stoked. They're like, oh my God, that was so awesome. And you're gonna learn so much about that person that you never knew. Every single person who gets me on a connect call with someone, pretty much in somewhere in the conversation, they say something that surprises them. Like, I had no idea about that about my friend. So anyway, but that said, there is no forcing, there's no coercing. We do not do that at all. We do not have to worry about that at all. Stay at your comfort. But we definitely push the edges of comfort a little bit until you try it. And then you're like, wow, that was a breakthrough. Hey, that was pretty cool. So.
Rachel, can you do me one last favor of this call? Because on the UBT group last week, you were talking about, you and Tony were doing it, and you were talking about like talking to somebody versus, and you were doing this, and can you just say that again? It was so good.
Getting versus inspiring. I know then Tony blew my punchline. He's all inspire them. So yeah, like we're never wanting to get somebody, because getting someone, if you have the visual of getting, it's like we're going after someone and they're going away and you're like getting them. Like that is so hunting. We're not hunters. We're farmers. We're planting seeds. We want to inspire people, because if you're inspiring people, they're looking at you and there's like this like woo, woo, woo energy, right? Inspiring. But getting is like, it's like we never want to do that. So we want to inspire people. And we do that through stories, through sharing our stories, through sharing other people's stories. And it's also like a semantics things. Like our semantics really, what we say, the power of the word is so real. What we say influences how we're energetically engaging in the situation. If we're in a situation of getting somebody and neediness, it creates like an energy of resistance. But if we're in a place of like attracting and inspiring, it brings people to us. So hopefully that was it. That was it. Okay, good. Yay. So cute. All right. Well, I love this team. Y'all are so amazing. Thank you for all of you who stayed on. You're all hardcore.
No kidding.
So
Thank
glad
you.
you're here. Lots of info. We'll put this on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, such a good call, Rachel. And like I said, I'm just so grateful for every single one of us. And we're just changing Squamish is already a really healthy community, but we are making it healthier. Awesome.
I just want to say thank you to Jilly and Rachel for doing this, because although you can point us to superfood.social and you can point us to all the places where it's been pre-recorded, to actually see our team's faces when we watch these and hear our own voices, I think it is really good for our team. So I appreciate that you're probably duplicating what you said a million times, but I think it's really valuable.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for appreciating. Love you all. Have a great
night.
night.
Night. Bye. Night.
All you
Thank
hardcore
you.
people. Way to claim your business.
No kidding. Amazing.